And welcome to another episode of Dose and a Half Cincos. This is episode number 49. This week we'll be covering Terminator 2 and Street Sharks Season 3, Episode 13. As always, I'm your host, David.
I'm Stuart.
And I'm Ben.
Oh, finally, Ben's natural voice actually finally came out. That's fantastic.
That's not the only thing that came out for Ben.
Oh.
So this week we will be covering Terminator 2. Did you guys have a chance to watch the original before this one?
No, but I think I've seen it enough times to have it committed to memory.
Same.
How about for Terminator 2? Did you guys feel like you had enough?
Yeah, but I watched it again anyways.
Yeah,
Nice.
why not? It's a great movie.
I actually watched the super extended version.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about that in the movie review this week. But outside of those two, did you guys see anything else? We'll start with Ben.
Well, I mean, it's been, 2 days since we last recorded, so I happen to, what was it? I listened to an album. That was about it.
Joe's going to be so curious. What album do you listen to?
No. Wait till the very end. Don't say anything.
Okay.
So tune in at the very end, Joe. I don't want you to be able to...
You can just scrub forward to the
end. I mean, Joe probably already knows what album I listened to because he asked about it during the stream.
I know. Okay, fine.
What was it?
Okay. Talk about half of it now and then half of it later. Make him have to scrub through the whole thing.
Just throughout the podcast, just drop one or two thoughts about it.
Let's just say that,
So my favorite part of the album was, and then so the last two songs. So what's album are we talking about, Ben?
It's Logic's last album, No Pressure. So that came out this past Friday, Thursday night.
Did he stream it on Twitch?
He did. He streamed the whole listen party on Twitch. He cried at the end. It was pretty great.
Is there a reason why this is his last album? Or is anybody... Logic, if you're listening to this, if they're forcing you to make no more albums after this, blink twice.
Come on, Bobby, come back, Bobby.
I mean, I don't know anything about this one. I'm assuming Stu doesn't know either.
I did not.
Well,
okay, Ben, what's going on?
According to him, he's just not getting enjoyment out of what he's doing anymore. It's also mix in with the fact that he's a dad now and he wants to be there for his son. So he wants to just kind of take this time to end his touring and his rap career and focus on Twitch.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, he traded in writing music where there's literally no 9 to 5, right? Like he can write it in the middle of the night. He can write it whenever. To now a job that has a required schedule, and then you can't mail it in because you can't just be on stream and then not do anything.
Well,
right?
I mean,
that's what some people seem to do.
Yeah, I mean, he would have to go and tour. Wow.
Hey,
there it is.
I may be bad at the game, but it doesn't mean I'm not doing anything.
Well, I forgot to give you your congratulations for beating whatever the first campaign or something.
Woo! The first third of
the first third.
It only took you like 4 streams.
Here's your participation medal.
Thank you.
3-4 streams.
I will put this on the shelf with the others. Well, I was originally just going to call it a day, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just finish this. I need to finish something because you guys kept flaming me the entire time. But all right. So, Ben, will you be tuning into Logic's Twitch streams?
Possibly, yeah. I do enjoy what he has to say. He's pretty entertaining. And someone who does like Logic, I do like all the little things that he puts into his albums. He's definitely someone who exhibits a lot of the same interests that we all do, video games, music, movies. And what I really liked about this album going into it was in the opening song, he got David Hayter to actually, do a snake voice at the beginning. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he said, "Hey, Logic, this is a solid snake." It's just like, oh, fuck, And he's like, "You're trying to build a new Metal Gear." It's just like, oh, fuck, So it's pretty cool, seeing things like that. not my favorite album, but definitely, still very enjoyable. And I'll miss you, Bobby.
He'll be back. That's
You better be. All right, don't worry. We're going to give him a run for his money on Twitch, right, guys? Right?
Everyone just flame him on Twitch. Make it so toxic.
We'll get buried in all of his all the chats or whatever. But okay,
he'll be back. That just seems like a silly thing for him to say he's gonna quit forever.
He's about our age. He's 30.
Oh yeah, he'll be definitely back.
Yeah,
he'll run out of money eventually.
Or if he turns out he'd I don't actually like my kid that much, and then
going back into the studio.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rap about my kid the same way Eminem did about Haley. He's gonna rap about.
Except he's just gonna be dunking on his son or whoever.
No, this whole album was talking about how he's gonna be a good father. His next album is gonna be like, yeah, fuck my son.
And being a dad sucks.
I wrote this album for what's his kid's name? Do you know?
I don't know.
All right, whatever. All right, we'll move on. Stu, what about you? See anything else in the 2 days that we had between recordings?
I haven't seen anything. What I did do is finish something, which was Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so...
Apparently when we talked last, I was not that far away from the ending, but it felt like I was, just starting, I felt like I was just starting, the second half of the game, but it turned out to be closer to the end.
Oh.
So, I think... Yeah, the last time we spoke, you're like, have you ever felt like there's a game where you feel like the ending should have happened and it didn't actually happen and it kept going?
Right.
And then, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess for those people who don't want this game spoiled or anything like that, put your earmuffs on and kind of just fast forward for about, 10 minutes.
I'm not gonna go heavy on. I'm not gonna try not to do spoilers here, but I will kind of. I don't know. Well, Ben didn't finish it, right? I don't know if he's planning on finishing it.
I didn't, but I have heard what happens at the ultimate, summation of the story at the end, Okay. So I've heard that, and I've heard the complaints about it.
Right. Okay. So, the ending's dog shit.
Okay. There it is.
Yep. Everyone who's criticizing it is justified, and at least that's my opinion.
Without spoiling it, what is the chief complaint?
I would say it's not satisfying. I guess at the same time that might be what they were going for, because in the same vein that oh yeah, Game of Thrones, you like this character, boom, he's dead or they're dead. It's like boom, and it's like they use that as I don't know, they use that as the thing that happens to even though you feel shitty, at least you felt something type of thing. Which I was like, okay, that's kind of getting old now to do that kind of shit just because
kicks and giggles.
That's the thing to do now, I guess. But I didn't like the ending. I know a lot of people didn't like the ending, and actually, as I was reading more about the game, because I wasn't really paying much attention to all the stuff leading up to the game, but as I was reading more about it. And I was like, holy shit, all this shit went down. I wasn't even aware.
Yeah.
But having learned all that and seeing what potentially might have or should have been how the game went, that really impacted how I feel about what they did with the game, and definitely impacted how I would rate it. Before I found out anything about how all the stuff going into the game, I probably would have given it a 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
But having read all the stuff and seeing all the shystiness between that Naughty Dog and Sony did leading up to the game, or during its development, I would have to say, well, this is now a 3 out of 10.
Ooh, shit, man.
So
the controversy surrounding it and just kind of the way that it was brought up, or the way that it was how it was packaged, that's right. What's really souring you on it.
I would say that. And this isn't a spoiler. I think this is, this kind of, if you're around Last of Us Part 2, you should probably be aware, unlike I was, where the whole their trailer or their teaser, whenever it was 2 years ago or whenever they released it, everything leading up to the game, kind of indicated that the original two characters, particularly Joel from the first game, was going to be heavily involved in the game. and
Really?
he's not. So, because a lot of the teaser trailers they show
Joel
Joel
in it.
in places where, like in the final product, they replaced him with like the Asian guy, and then they also like changed his model to make him look different. So like from what
okay.
they showed in the teaser.
Okay.
So
Okay, so oh man, I want to talk about this more, but like without going into spoilers. Um, shit, can we go into spoilers for this or no?
Yeah, we can. I
yeah,
mean,
whatever,
it
do
seems
it.
like. Huh?
Okay, well, so I was reading that yeah, what you were saying is true that there were scenes where Joel's character was inserted in there, but then it was later removed and replaced with I can't remember his name, but the Asian guy, right?
Yeah, Asian guy.
Or yeah, with other characters, or they made his model different, where it was a lot younger or something, less ravaged looking. And I heard that that was similar to what they do in like movies, to kind of sell it, where they most, I guess most memorably or most popular wise is like something like Avengers, where they don't want to spoil anything, so like they'll show scenes where they digitally remove some characters, or they won't
Oh,
insert
okay.
some things like Iron Man in his armor or something, so that's what I've read, but I don't know how true that is,
Right.
So it could be very well that Joel was supposed to be more
Right.
heavily involved in the story. I will say though that the first trailer ever given for this game definitely involved Abby. I remember seeing it and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And then at the end they showed like a split frame of a clicker, and then that was the thing that gave away that it was The Last of Us related.
I thought the first teaser, or at least maybe one of the teasers, was Ellie playing guitar, and Joel walks up and he's like watching her.
No, that was definitely a second one. The first ever teaser trailer for it was this like I think it was like 7 minutes long, where it was like Abby getting the shit beat out of her by I don't remember the religious order in the game right now.
Right. The Seraphites.
Yeah, or no, or was it the Seraphites that saved her? I can't remember. It was something like that. And then at the end, Abby's like, "All right, run!" And then she's like cocking her gun, ready for something to come out of the shadows. And out of the shadows pops out a clicker, and you see it for like a second, and it's just like, "Oh fuck!" And that was the thing that gave it away that this is The Last of Us Part 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was definitely, Abby was planned from the beginning.
Right.
I just don't know to what capacity she was.
Right.
So I could definitely see a frustration with that. And I do want to ask, like, you were saying that you weren't sure like how much longer this game was going to go on. What point was that?
So, well, why don't you tell me where you're at, where you left off?
It was literally the point at which Abby went into the theater and killed Asian Man.
As when you're controlling Abby, or when you were controlling Ellie?
Ellie.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're still that you're like almost halfway. You're about halfway.
Fuck. Okay, that was honestly, I hate to say it, but it was kind of detracting, or it was kind of discouraging for me to get to that point, and then you start playing as Abby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see the kind of effect they want to go through, right? They want to put you in the other perspective of the other person, right? But at the same time, you've had a whole game and plus this half game to go through Ellie's perspective, and you have nothing but frustration and like just hate towards this person.
Right.
So there isn't much that's compelling me to like pick up Abby's story.
Yeah,
but at the same time, the whole like thesis of this game is to like, I've heard what happens at the end, she ultimately just says, I forgive you, right? That's what it was, right?
Pretty much,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, so I could see the whole idea that they're going for, but forcing yourself to do that, it's a whole nother ordeal, right? I mean, to get to that point might be something, but just to force yourself to get through another half of the game in the killer's shoes, it's just like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, it definitely, that was probably one of the biggest dings to my rating of this game, because I get it. I knew they're trying to show you the other perspective and blah, blah, blah. But guess what? I don't give a fuck about her perspective because, you know, what she does in the beginning of the game. So, which, I
Yeah.
don't know, David, are you ever going to play these games?
I will. I'll get around to it.
Do you care though
But
about what we're saying?
no, I
though?
don't.
Okay,
No, it's
so
okay.
for anyone listening, this is the mega spoiler of the game. But yeah, in the first 2 hours of the game, and the game's about 25 hours. The first 2 hours of the game, Abby, this character we're talking about, kills Joel.
What?
No, she
Damn.
takes him out to go golfing.
Oh yeah, she takes him.
David, you would love this game. There's
Wait,
lots of
does she
golf
really?
games.
No, shut up. No, does she really?
Yeah,
Yeah, Tiger Woods.
Yeah, Tiger Woods.
PGA.
Yeah,
That's horse
PGA.
crap. How can you do that?
Hey, you said you were okay with the spoiler, so I was
I'm okay with it, but how could they?
because I don't know, they wanted to really push this other perspective of thing, but you know what?
I don't think they did it very well.
No, they didn't, and I think this is why I go back to the teasers leading up to the game, where it was from what I saw, it actually made it seem like how the story was supposed to go was, pretty much the same, except instead of Joel, it's Dina who gets killed by the wolves or whatever.
Oh, really?
And Joel goes to help Ellie exact revenge on them, which to me sounds way better than what we got. So that's kind of this is why I'm very disappointed in this game. And
Like,
the other thing,
I could see, like, with Dina, it's kind of like a risk where it's a brand new character. You might not be attached to her, so you might not get the motivation that you need to go through Ellie's story with all these, resentment towards Abby. But if it's someone like Joel, that's like a whole nother thing where it's like, oh fuck, oh hell no, you didn't,
Right.
And it definitely did take a toll on me in that one scene where you go interrogate that one girl. And she said, yeah, Joel died like a bitch. And it's just like, oh, fuck, you did not. And it just,
right.
That was very
I was disappointed they didn't actually show like her skull getting caved in from that. But but I would have it's funny because Ellie was like, no, I was there. He wasn't.
Yeah, I know, right? He went out like a champ.
Yeah, he took it like a champ.
Yeah, he's just like, just do whatever you're gonna do. It's just like, oh no, Joel, no.
But so this will be the last point I'll touch on, but there are several more. This could be like a whole episode. But one part that I forgot about from the first game, which when I saw, like, I watched a couple videos on it. When I saw that, and then compare it to what happens in those first 2 hours of the game where Joel gets captured and eventually killed, does not make any sense at all based on what we know about Joel. Encountering a stranger in the wild, he would not just openly share that information. Say he wouldn't openly share his name. He wouldn't. He'd be very weary of any stranger he encountered, even if doesn't matter if he just rescued him, because that's how he was in the first game.
Right. So I've heard that complaint about the game, and I want to play devil's advocate for a moment and just say that there has been a few years since the events of Last of Us Part 1 took place, and they have settled down into a city, and it's very peaceful. It's like almost like normal life has resumed. And I would say that I want to give him the story the benefit of the doubt to say that Joel has kind of fallen into that, where he has fallen into like just a rut, or not a rut, but like normal.
He's become complacent.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh hey, these are people. We shouldn't fear them. We have this large community. There's nothing to fear because these if we don't know them and they're just a small group of people, they must need help or something, right?
Yeah,
but they're not there for help.
Yeah, and I've heard that counterpoint, in which my counterpoint would be, well, I don't know if you didn't get to this part in the game yet.
Okay, yeah.
But later on, it's actually he might have been the beginning, but they touch on it again later on. But he is there's cutscenes where he's basically like it's indicated or explicitly said that he's been like really on top of, I forget the Asian guy's name, about going on patrols with Ellie. So he still has this very hyper. He's very hyper protective of her. So I don't know. Maybe if that's it's a valid point. I just don't know if I buy it completely.
Okay,
it's definitely a valid point. But I think it was done just so they could ramrod this shit show of a story down our throats.
Okay, fair enough. I want to say, like, the last point for me is that I think this whole story, the whole narrative, would probably be better as a movie. That way you sit through it and you experience everything without having to force yourself to be in the killer's shoes and do what she does.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
It's very hard. I found myself in a very difficult spot where I'm like, do I really have to do this? Like, I don't. I can just put it on the controller and that's it.
Right. Yeah, you can't make me. Naughty Dog.
All right, where's Uncharted?
Right.
Oh man.
I read, and I don't want to go on too much longer on this, but another thing I read about just about Naughty Dog in general was that pretty much all the people at Naughty Dog who were involved in their previous franchises, who kind of were responsible for like making them great, like making them what they were and are. Yeah. They're all gone. They were all gone before Last of Us 2 started, or at least around the time it started. Yeah. So it was just the one guy who basically had no one there to challenge any of his, direction or ideas, or like, maybe that's not such a great idea. And so I think that's basically how we got Last of Us 2, is that everyone else who was involved in the other games that everyone loves, they're all great, are gone.
Damn. So I would say it's a very ambitious project, but it's just very, very, very flawed, I would say, for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you think it was probably one of those things where, because the first one was so good,
it's definitely a challenge to try to follow it, because the first one is probably top tier as far as games, like at least as far as like story driven games go. Like, I went back and watched the first 15 minutes of the first Last of Us, and just so I can wash the taste out of Last of Us 2 out of my mouth. And Jesus Christ, it hit me just as hard as the first time I played that game. Where if you've never played the first one.
Oh no, I played the first one for sure.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I played the first one. Yeah,
that first 15 minutes is just like the reason. And this I kind of draw like
bang bang bang. It's like, oh dude, it hits you really hard.
Yeah. I like, so this is what I'll say. That the first 15 minutes of Last of Us Part 1 hit me so hard, like as far as like emotionally, that. And then Last of Us 2 had nothing even remotely close to that. Even with Joel dying, because I kind of suspected it was going to happen. Yeah. So I was kind of anticipating it at a certain point in the game, which was like, I just kind of slowly became more disgruntled with it. And then eventually it happened. So, and at that point I was just more annoyed with like Naughty Dog for doing that, rather than like actually have like a visceral reaction to it. So,
well, now you can play Ghost of Sushi.
Yeah, I am. I just started it last night.
Hey, that's cool. All right, I gotta get started on it.
Ghost of Sushimi.
Ghost of Sushimi.
Sushimi.
Guacamole.
Okay. So, all right, we'll bounce out of the spoiler zone now at this point for that one. For anybody who want to come back, I think we'll have to make a note at the 25-minute mark that people can come back. If they don't want that game spoiled. If not, then whatever. So, all right, we'll just go straight to our box office. Oh no, our Street Sharks episode. Oh, I forgot, we almost had the shark die.
Yeah.
This one is episode 13, Shark Wars. Essentially what happens is Dr. Paradigm from the future comes back to help current Dr. Paradigm, and then he has this airborne virus and he wants to poison everything for a second. For a good while, it looks like they're going to succeed because they have captured Jab. one of the street sharks, and it takes everything in his power to stop himself from poisoning his best friends and his brother. Oh, and we also get a sighting of their dad, but it's a very pixelated version of that.
Yeah. I think he's from
And
the future also.
something like that. So
Asian
they find
version of him.
yeah. Of course, they find an antidote. They save the day. There's a pretty good montage towards the end of it, and they get to celebrate a brand new year.
Yeah.
So happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this episode, guys?
Do you think we're gonna have? I think it's gonna be standard now. That every episode is gonna have a montage.
Yeah.
Good, because that's the only thing that's keeping this thing alive for me at this point.
Yeah. I'm trying to evaluate what takes more effort: animating like 30 seconds of material, or writing and recording a song to go over the montage.
It's gotta be the montage song. The animation, they just pull from
all right. No, but here's the question that really comes up: is which one comes first, the montage, and then do they write the song first and then they build the episode around it, or is it using whatever they have from the episode?
It's the first one. It's gotta be the first one.
Montage.
They do the montage and they write the episode around it.
I've been telling you this from the beginning. This whole show is just a cover for them just to write music. That's it.
Yep, I believe it. With every passing episode, I'm believing it more and more. That's like the guy who created the show really wanted to be a rock star, but he became an animator and still wanted to shoehorn his music into something. So
yeah,
guys, I have all these really good lyrics about sharks and
shark-related activities.
Yeah, the penultimate shark-related song is Baby Shark, but let's not get into that.
Wow.
So let's just go ahead and jump over to our box office rundown. As you know, the entire country is still locked down, so no movies. If anything, there has been some movies of note that have been released abroad. For example, I believe, Ben, you watched Train to Busan, right?
I did, yeah. Wait, Peninsula came out, right?
Correct.
Oh.
Peninsula did get released worldwide. It will be coming to theater. It says it's supposed to be coming to theaters August 21st, but I believe that's probably still going to be in jeopardy. But they did sign an exclusive deal to stream on the AMC platform Shudder, I believe.
Shudder.
Is that what it is?
I like for spooky movies.
Yeah, and it's only spooky movies.
Yeah.
So David's not going to get that.
So I don't need to because you guys will have it. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll release it there on the 21st if they don't have any chance to be able to release it here, because apparently it's pretty good. It made some pretty decent money worldwide, even though most places are still technically kind of on shutdown a little bit. Not as much as us here, but I was excited about that one.
I want to say that I hated Train to Busan.
You hated
really?
it?
Why did you not like it?
I don't know. It was just like, it was really cartoonishly like, well, yeah, it was very cartoonish, I would say.
but I feel like the same.
That should be right up your alley.
Wait a minute. Okay, so funny story about this. I was watching it in theaters, right? And
wait. Hold on. Before you tell this story,
yeah.
Are we gonna do That's What I Call Cinco Zombies? Because if that's the case, I'm gonna pick Train to Busan.
Well, I mean,
are you sure no one picked Shaun of the Dead? You fucking dingus.
I'll choose it.
See, he'll pick it again, and then Zombieland, and then World War Z, and then there's also I Am Legend. Dude, there's a lot of zombie movies.
No, there isn't. There's only Shaun of the Dead, and we already did it.
They created the genre.
Speaking of Shaun of the Dead, Simon Pegg just released a video on YouTube where he talks about his entire career.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
And from like Shaun of the Dead all the way to like to Mission Impossible. So I definitely would have you guys check that out. It's really interesting. But he's actually like reviewing how he does throughout his entire career, how he got to one and to the other. So that was pretty interesting. But you know what, Ben? Yeah, go ahead, tell your story. You were watching Train to Busan.
I was watching Train to Busan, and have you guys watched Train to Busan?
I have.
Yes.
And David, wait, what'd you say? Sorry.
I said yes.
Okay, so this is a small spoiler for the movie. So if you don't want to know anything about it, hop off.
Then you can hang out with us on That's What I Call Cinco's Volume 4, Zombies.
We're really doing zombies for part 4?
I don't know. I was just messing around. Go ahead.
So I was watching it at the UTC theater in Irvine. You know, it's that movie theater right across the street.
The crappy one.
Yeah, the crappy one. So there's like me, Letty, my friend, and there were probably 2 other people in the theater. And guess what? They were Korean. They were like straight up Korean. So we were watching the movie, and it got to the scene where the dad, you know, gets infected.
Wait, real quick. Are the Koreans like the stereotype for black people where they're yelling at the screen and stuff, but they do it in Korean?
Wait, was it because they brought you Korean fried chicken? They didn't offer you any?
Oh, I'd be miffed about that too.
That would be Korean, and then they were drinking soju and
potato.
They didn't offer you any.
So we were watching the film, and it got to the point where the dad got infected, and they're on that train, or that second train, and he decides to make the ultimate sacrifice and throw himself off the train, right?
And drag the zombie with him. Yes.
No, he didn't. He didn't drag the zombie with him. I think he just literally fell off, or he just threw himself off the train, or didn't fall. He didn't throw
something like that. He sacrificed himself. Continue.
Yeah, he fell off the train. And they did it in slow motion. It was very, very dramatic. And for some reason, I thought it was the dumbest thing. It was so fucking.
It was pretty silly.
It was pretty fucking dumb. And so I started fucking laughing, right? I was like audibly laughing, and Letty punches me.
Wait, what does this have to do with the Korean?
Okay,
he's getting to it. Let him finish.
So after the movie, you know, we're getting out of the theater, and I'm still laughing, and Letty punches me again. I'm like, what the fuck, you know? And my friend even punches me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you guys punching me? We get to the car and we're driving back. He's like, dude, that was pretty insensitive. I'm like, what do you mean that was insensitive? What did I do? Like that was so fucking stupid. And she punched me again. I'm like, why? What? What did I do? And she's like, dude, like maybe you think. I can't believe you're like laughing at how they were crying. I'm like, who's crying? The Korean girls behind us were like bawling at that scene. I didn't notice. Like they were bawling at him, like just sacrificing him and killing himself. And I was like, holy shit, this fucking sucks. This is absolutely dog shit. And if the Korean girls ever listen to this podcast, I'm sorry. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at how terrible I thought the movie was.
You were laughing at how the ending was. It was over dramatic. It was over. It was a gratuitous amount of uses of slow motion and all that stuff.
And the bad guy in the movie was just so over the top evil that it wasn't even like, holy shit, that's a real person.
He didn't have the handlebar mustache.
He might. Well, Koreans can't grow a handlebar mustache, so
that's why he's not the ultimate bad guy.
Dude, there was a scene where he was running away from the zombies, right? And he had a good 30-second lead on him. And what he does is he goes all the fuck the way 500 feet to the left, and there's these people hiding. He grabs them, runs back into the path of the zombies, pushes them on the ground, and keeps running. True. It was real bad. It was real bad, all right? Like, there's so many gripes about this movie I have. Like, it's crazy. So, but I am interested to see Peninsula. Maybe it's a little better. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the first film, along with its weird Nintendo Wii and Nintendo DS product placement. This movie came out 5 years after those have ended their, service of life cycle.
They don't get that stuff in Korea until later.
Yeah, they just got it. But they're brand new. What are you talking about?
But it's right down the street from them is Japan.
They might get all the cell phones the day they come out, but everything else.
Everybody in Korea is technically a product tester for Samsung phones.
Yep.
Yeah.
When it comes to anything else that's outside of Korea,
I think we've made this joke before.
I don't know, but
if we have, it's fine because that's nothing wrong.
The only good part of that movie was that thick Korean guy, who's beating the shit out of zombies.
Yes, he's the best. He's in a lot of big Korean movies, and he's really good in all of them.
And now he's in a big American film too, coming soon, The Eternals for MCU.
Oh, sweet!
I know. Yep. That's the only part I was excited about. So good job, you. I don't know what your name is, but. Damn, I'm pretty excited.
Thick Korean dude.
Thick Korean man. thick. I like them extra thick.
extra soon to boo. I don't know.
Wait, what? Extra tofu?
Extra tofu soup.
All right, that sounds like a pretty good transition. Let's jump over to our movie of the week this week. It is Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Chun 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 chun. Chun 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 chun. Arnold Schwarzenegger is back, and this time he means business, as he comes back to defend John Connor this time instead of trying to kill his mom, like he did in the first one. This time he's the good guy. But then, shut up.
Stu, you're doing so good.
But then you keep laughing.
I'm laughing because Ben's laughing.
But then they send back the liquid version of
Mercury Man
in the liquid Terminator. And then they gotta go face to face in Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Face off is Judgment Day. All right, if you couldn't tell from this, or you don't know what Terminator 2 is, go see it, please.
If you haven't at least seen the first two, if you've haven't seen the first two, but you've seen all the other ones, like fucking go jump off a bridge or something.
How would anyone do that?
I don't know. I like the worst things of stuff.
No, their parents watched the first two, and then they're like, "Oh, you've never seen Terminator?" And then the first one they saw was Rise of the Machine.
Oof.
I mean, it's rough, but I mean, those parents also probably aren't doing their kids any favors by not showing them, "Hey, this is the origin of the two," so that way.
What, like in between all the belt beatings, they had time.
No, they're like, you know what? You only got belt beat twice this week, so as a treat, we're gonna take you to the movies. It's gonna be Terminator 3. I don't want to hear any complaining.
You see Terminator Genesis.
Oh. Hey, if you make another noise, we're watching Terminator Dark Fate. Don't make me through this car.
Okay, out of the second set, Dark Fate was not the worst one.
No, Genesis was by far the worst one.
Yes.
Genesis was definitely the worst.
It was the best Terminator.
Everyone agrees.
It's the smartest Terminator.
Yeah, since Stu gave us that resounding, excellent synopsis,
Killed it.
Murdered it. He terminated it.
Oh.
So, Ben, thoughts on this movie?
So I actually didn't watch this growing up. This was definitely.
All right, we're muting him.
Okay, there it is. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10.
Let me guess. Arnold Schwarzenegger was also a bad guy.
I don't know. Okay, so I actually asked my dad about Terminator and everything, and he'd just never seen it before, so he never bothered showing it to me. So I just never had any interest in watching it until college. So that's the first time I watched it, and my roommate showed it to me. And I gotta say, okay, so James Cameron, never seen any of his movies, and this was actually the first movie I saw from him. Not even Titanic. I never even seen Titanic before that. This is literally the first movie I seen from him. And afterwards, I just had this urge to watch everything James Cameron related, and I was shocked to learn that he only had 4 movies out.
What year was this?
This was 2010.
Wasn't Avatar out at that
Yeah.
point? And
Yeah.
Didn't that spawn James Cameron rage, where everybody was just like, "Oh, we have to watch another James Cameron movie"?
Yeah, all 4 of them. Jesus. Okay, so this was James Cameron's second gigantic sci-fi action film, right? What he started with, I would say, Aliens, and continued with Judgment Day. I think both of those films kind of had a similar effect behind them, right? They took a well-established and received film and capitalized on them and turned them into this massive action spectacle. I mean, you think about okay, Alien, Ridley Scott directed that, and then what did fucking James Cameron do? He's just he just took a look at it. He's like, You
know what this needs? More pulse rifles.
Yeah, this needs 1 billion more guns and we need explosions up the ass. You know, there's a funny story about how he actually pitched this film. Apparently, he went into the producer's room, and all he did was get on a whiteboard and he wrote Alien, right? And then he wrote Alien. No. Here's the best part. He wrote Aliens, and then he just drew the S with dollar signs. And apparently this is a completely true story, and it completely sold them on that. And
I'd be sold.
I know, but here's the thing: it's a completely risky thing, right? Like Alien was well received, Terminator was well received, and I think to do something that bold, it worked out amazingly. Like, think about if you like fell flat on your face doing that, where it's like, hey, let's take these, like, you know, this horror movie essentially and turn it into a big blockbuster action film. Like, you wouldn't see the end of it, and he did like stupidly well. Both of these films have
knocked him out of the park.
Serious? No, not even locked out of the park. Marked out of the fucking galaxy, out of the universe. Jesus.
Won Academy Awards for him too.
Yeah, both of these films have become landmarks in the landscape of action movies. I mean, what they accomplished is still talked about today. But this, okay, like,
man, Ben's got a lot to say about this one.
Oh, he's rock hard right now.
I am. I am continuously just soiling myself about how good this is.
I am as stiff as Arnold's biceps right now.
Like, okay, so the one thing I will say about this is, and this is like still high praise, the effects still hold up quite well today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the worst thing, but like it's still really good. It's still
I
really.
would say I've seen movies made recently that were done way worse.
Exactly. Like, you could watch this film and it's still passable. That's the thing. But this movie, on top of that, on top of the still passable effects, like, there's just so many badass sequences. Like, every 5 minutes, you can think of something that's just like, oh, fuck, you know? Something that makes you jump up in your seat and you're just like, fuck yeah, you know? Like, just so many badass sequences, so many moments, lines, characters, you name it, that haven't aged a fucking second. It's like James Cameron's hallmark, you know? Like, every film he does, it's always something like that. To make memorable films that are talked about for years, that are both appreciated, like, on a technical level and by a broad range of audience groups alike. It's like, not only that, but on top of that, they make a fucking shitload of money. Like, it is ridiculous how much money this man can make by just slapping his name into the director's seat. This man has only directed an amount of films that you can pretty much count on, like, one hand, and is easily, like, the most influential directors of all time. Judgment is like the pinnacle of that, or, well, arguably the pinnacle of that, you know, depending if you're an Aliens guy or a Judgment Day guy. Easily,
or a Titanic person.
No one's a Titanic person. Come on. Okay, there are Titanic people, but, you know, they're not here, right? They're not fucking
That's
here.
That's true.
They're in the bottom of the Atlantic. All right, that does it for me, guys. I'm out of here.
That joke is not too soon. It's been way too long. It's fine. Drawing the line. It's fine now. All right, Ben, with all of that being said, what is your rating for this? I know.
4 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Dude, just let him say it, though.
Okay, you're right. 1 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Holy fuck, this is easy 10 out of 10. Easy.
Yeah.
GG.
Okay, what about you, Stu? Thoughts? I mean, I don't know if there's anything left to say after Ben literally told us the entire history of James Cameron.
It definitely, listening to Ben talk, even if my rating wasn't already a 10 out of 10, it would have elevated it to a 10 out of 10. But yeah, this movie, this is my pick. And see, David, this is how you pick action movies.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Even though I really like your other film, but you know, fuck you, David.
Except you could have saved that for Volume Zombies. But whatever.
Plenty of volumes, trust me. There's tons of stuff.
But okay, so this is definitely one of my favorite action movies. And like Ben was saying, all of the effects, not only the effects, but I'm always weary of early, like, pre-2000s or like 80s to 90s action movies where like the gunplay isn't really reflected in a realistic manner. But this is probably the first movie I ever saw where that was the case, where not just like realistically portrayed all the guns, but like even added some flair to it with Arnold Schwartz or the Terminator's shotgun spinny trick to reload it,
Oh, that's
which
so
was
good.
one of the most badass things in the movie.
Super Chris.
And so yeah, that and just like
I'm still rock solid.
Ben, are you
Okay.
okay over there?
Ben's gonna be a moment. But with all the great action sequences aside, what I've realized this time around watching it, where it wasn't just action. It had a lot of kind of like good, kind of, I guess, emotional or thoughtful moments in the movie. Between like, say, when Sarah Connor's watching John Connor and the Terminator like get along, and she's like, "Holy shit, this is like the first time he's had like an actual father figure in his life that like actually like, even though he's a machine, he's kind of like programmed to do that, but like he's basically taking on the role of a father figure for him." And so there's all these little bits in the movie about like that. So it wasn't just a great action movie; it's just a great movie in general. Like, I think whether and yeah, the gunplay, I loved it all. Like, everyone's has to reload; they're running out of ammo all the time. So that was I really like that. They have to. There's one part where the T-1000 has to stop and collect more ammo. So it's like nobody has infinite ammo in this movie, which is kind of like, of the time, that's probably like one of the only movies that ever did that, because every other movie is like everyone's got infinite ammo.
Yeah, because for them, action is just literally stuff has to keep happening.
Right.
There's like no tension when
Right.
about having to conserve ammunition or be able to find.
And they even do it not just in like to like appease someone like me, but like they do it in like they even have a scene where it's like important at the end where Sarah Connor is she's about to vanquish the T-1000 with the shotgun that she just reloaded, but at the last shot she runs dry. So that was just like oof. But yeah,
and then she keeps trying to think maybe if she cocks it one more time.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. So yeah, there's just everything about it's great. I'm just trying to touch on stuff that Ben hasn't touched on. So
so that way there's nothing left for me to be able to talk about.
Yeah,
fuck you, David.
And just like I'm a sucker for like aesthetics in movies, and this one definitely had a lot of aesthetics I liked. Like I mentioned before, like when Sarah Connor's out and they're down there in the wherever they are near the border, and there's just like hot and dry and dusty and like, and they're trying to like gather all their stuff to get ready to cross the border. That's just like, man, I wish I could be like sitting in that broken down helicopter watching this. But yeah, so yeah, 10 out of 10. I'm trying to think of other stuff to talk about that was great about this movie, but honestly, I can't really. I mean, everything was great. So
yeah, it's one of those movies that like you have to have everything it's a holistic thing as well as like individual. It's extremely quotable. It has really memorable moments. It has those where it's easy for you to be able to like share it with another audience member and just go, "Oh, dude, you remember that one time where you pulled out the that?" And then remember that first introduction? And I really like the fact that they tied in a lot of stuff that was said in the first one and the second one. Like there's that eternal link that it's like you can watch them separately, but if you watch them as a set and you watch them one after the other, you get so much more out of that out of both viewings. Yeah, so for me, also easy 10 out of 10. I mean, this was one of the first action movies I ever got to see. My dad was a pretty big Arnold fan, so anything that he came out in, so I got to see Conan. I got to see this. I got to see the original Terminator, and wow! Like I think the version I watched was remastered, but literally everything stands up, like Ben was saying, and so I like literally I don't really have very much left to say about it except for it is the action. It's the action movie fans' action movie, and I think Ben kind of said it right? Like literally James Cameron puts his name on it, and then all you have to do is add a dash of Arnold and you have True Lies. And that's also a really great movie too. So in general, I think iconic action movie stars from the 90s, it's Arnold, it's Sylvester Stallone, it's Bruce Willis. I mean, those guys are just literally tied together because they pretty much launched a genre pretty much on their own. Not to say that there weren't action movies beforehand, but this is where the word action hero comes from, and that was it. So I'll just go ahead and I'll ask the questions I wanted to ask, and while Stu's probably still thinking about what he was going to say. Ben, favorite quote and favorite moment. We'll start with quote.
I mean, quote, it has to be, hasta la vista, baby, or,
Nope, that's the only one you get.
Okay, fine, your clothes, give them to me.
Damn it.
Shit, those were only those were his only 2 lines.
How about you, Stu? Favorite quote?
Shit. Well, can't say hasta la vista, baby. I'm trying to go through in my head. What else? Oh, obviously. Okay, this is obvious now that it hit me. Come with me if you want to live.
Oh, so good.
I do like that callback. Yeah.
Oh, such a good callback. For me, my favorite it's when he says, "I'm a cybernetic organism, living tissue of a metal endoskeleton." That's for some reason, that one stuck with me. Most of the reason is the Mad TV spoof about Terminator going back in time to save Jesus. And he's like, "What are you?" And he goes, and then he repeats the same thing. Obviously, it's a horrible Arnold impersonator, because that guy is literally like maybe $160. He's not a thick boy, but like that is just, oh man, such a good line just in general, and he delivers it so well. It kind of also reminds me of McVeigh in The Simpsons. Up and atom. No, it's up and atom. Oh, so good. So, and literally, it's like at that point, like, yes, that is technically probably like a joke amongst all the others trying to do an impersonation of Arnold, but at the same time, like, so good, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it probably took them 1,000 tries to get him to be able to say that line perfectly, so that way it was actually intelligible. But all right, I let Ben pick quote first. I will let Stu pick favorite moment.
Oh boy, I think my favorite moment was when
you can also pick 2.
So I can be like, so I can dunk, I can steal
correct.
one of Ben's moments, like yes. He stole one of the lines. All right, here's the 2 moments then. When the T-1000 is walking through the liquid nitrogen and freezes, and then Arnold with his last round shatters him, shoots him, and he shatters him. That part, or the part where he's like shortly after, after he's gotten like the shit kicked out of him and his arm torn off, and he comes up over that whatever that thing was he was on with the grenade launcher.
Damn it! And took my moment.
And he shoots him with his last grenade. See, that's the thing I love about this. It was his last grenade. Like, it's the whole time, like, they're very cognizant of how many grenades he had on his belt and what he was doing with them. So
yep, and he was taking them each out one at a time, and he loads one, and he's holding on to it because he knows he needs to find the perfect time to use it.
Right, and so he gets him with the that grenade launcher. Man, I want a grenade launcher like that. But thump.
So satisfying. Yeah. And it literally happens right after Sarah Connor has no hope left. Does no more ammunition. She pumps a shotgun. She's injured. She's wounded. She's shooting him towards the entire like crucible full of liquid metal, so that way she can end him. And then he stands right back up because she's got nothing else to push him over. I was like wondering. I was like, if it was me, I would have thrown the shotgun at him. Yeah, just hopefully maybe I would have toppled him over maybe. But I'm surprised but that's just nitpicking. Still 10 out of 10, don't worry. Okay, what about you, Ben? Favorite moment?
Do I get 2?
No.
Fuck.
You got 2 lines.
You stole the line that he wanted to say.
This feels like I'm in one of those like game shows where it's like you're sitting in that chamber and there's like $1 billion like floating around and you have to grab some. There's just so many good ones. It's just hard to grab one.
Just pick the first one that comes to mind when I said favorite moment.
Okay, well, if I had to choose a single scene, like it'd have to be the truck scene. Like I know it's at like the beginning of the movie, and that's before everything really ramps up, right? But I would still pick that scene just because it's kind of like the
Like,
introduction to the movie. Not or well, I know that Arnold was already introduced at that scene, but
this is the action of the movie. This is the
yeah, yeah,
action you can strap in for.
this is what you can expect for the rest of the movie. This is like the hook, really. It's a scene that's just so kinetic, I guess, if I had to choose a word. So I watched all the Terminator films before this, in preparation for this, Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Rise of the
Oh
Machines,
God, why did you do that?
fucking Salvation, Genesis, Dark Fate, the
Why?
Terminator 2 ride. I went to Universal Studios, I strapped in.
You had to do battle with the T-100000.
1 million. I saw Carl do all the sound effects for it. And I gotta say, this scene still, like, actually every scene from Terminator 2 tops them all, but this one stands at the top for me just because of what was going into it. And this kind of builds off of what Stu was saying, like with the bullets, right? So a lot of the tension came from like how many bullets they have. And I feel like a lot of filmmakers don't really account for how many bullets are left just because they don't really know how to deal with that. Like when people run out of bullets, oh, what do I do? There's like this pause, this lull. I have to keep the action going. I have to keep this momentum going. And, but there are some filmmakers that do know what to do with it. They are able to ride that out and create tension from that. And that's what I really like about this scene. They don't have, or they do have some gunplay in it towards the end, but the the terrifying part about it was about the momentum of the T1000. Like, this is the part of the movie where you realize there's no fucking stopping this thing. He is running after John Connor, right? And then he gets on the bike and it's just like, okay, John Connor's safe. And then T1000 just keeps fucking running, hijacks that giant ass tow truck and chases him down. And it's just like, oh fuck, like, you're still on the edge of your seat. John Connor goes into the washout, right? And it's just like, okay, and he slows down and he's just looking back and he's like, okay, that's it, like it's very believable. It's like this is the end of the sequence, and then the fucking like plows off of the fucking overpass into the ravine, and this is one of the this is what I'm talking about one of these, like one of the many badass parts. I don't know what it is about it, but the way that the truck fucking drives off that overpass into the washout, it's just so fucking badass and satisfying. The damage it takes and the like that clunk it makes, the impact it makes, the damage it has at the end of it. It's just like, oh my fucking god, and it just keeps going. Holy
and
fuck!
And then he goes under the next overpass and takes the top off.
And then he leans right back up. Yep.
Yeah, you can't stop the T1000, and that's the whole thesis for this whole fucking movie. You can't fucking stop him. It's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, because that scene definitely shows that the T1000 already made the decision. I'm gonna go over this thing,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna stop. So I actually put my foot on the gas. It wasn't like he happened to go, maybe this would work, maybe this wouldn't. Because if you don't commit to it, he's gonna pretty much like lawn dart right into the concrete.
Yeah.
So he has to go full force going over it, and then he's just like, "Yep, that's gonna work." And I was like, "Oh, that's not the way this works." And he lands, and he keeps going. Oh man.
One little bit of trivia. Probably a lot of people know this part about it, but during that scene, because that's when Arnold's doing the super sweet shotgun, twirly reload. Arnold actually carried that prop around with him, like to practice that movement. I don't think that shit's real easy to do. Like,
it doesn't look easy,
but fuck,
especially while riding a bike.
Yeah, he makes that shit look so. That was like one of the most iconic things from that, as far as like gunplay goes. Is just the twirly shotgun.
Wow. I have nothing. My favorite moment was the entire movie.
Wow. Ooh, cop out.
No. I think for me, my favorite moment is when Sarah Connor figures out a way to be able to get. She endures the orderly who's in her room and like licks her face, and then has the paper clip in her hand, and then she breaks out and then sneaks up behind him and then like
Levels
I
him.
feel like and then nails him with the back of the broomstick, and then like pulls him in. And then I'm like thinking back to, and then she runs into the first that first like guard quarters, and then takes the keys and then tosses it to the guy, and the guy instinctively catches it, and then she nails him with the end of the broomstick, and then continues to go by and then stabs him with the sedative. I thought that's my favorite moment, because it's just like all these things that she had to have thought up of, even though she was heavily medicated and she was like running for her life and all that stuff. And then at the end, she scolds John Connor and says, you shouldn't have come to get me. It was too dangerous. You're way too important. Like, it's just like literally this buildup for the entire thing goes, okay, you've seen the two robots go after it, but look, this is the mom that was raising this kid until she got caught. And it was friggin' badass. And then that eventually you get to see in Dark Fate at the very end that Sarah Connor never changes. She is 100% still in this to the very end, knowing that her mission is never done until it's like over, right? Because the T-1000, like the Skynet, will figure out some way to be able to come back and then send somebody back to try to kill off the next leader of the human race. So for me, that was a really great moment, and seeing that like you don't have to be a cybernetic organism to be able to do some badassery. So that was my favorite moment. If it wasn't for the fact that Stu's second moment was my favorite moment, which was that literal buildup, because everything ties together. It's so tense, and then the music swells and it's like, it's not like it comes out of nowhere, right? You can kind of see the top of the grenade launcher. It's coming up. It's like you're hoping that that's what it is, because the camera actually like pans to it, and then it kind of like almost zooms in slightly because it pulls that into focus, and you know something's happening. So it's kind of like it. Oh man, it's so good. But that's how you end a movie like that, where at the very end he's like, "There's still one more chip," and then he points to his
no,
The
don't do
thumbs up,
it.
man. The fucking thumbs up.
That was so hard to watch.
That's what I'm saying.
Action movies aren't supposed to make you tear up. That was the moment. I was like, I did not come prepared. I knew it was coming, but it still doesn't prepare you.
Still hurts.
It does, because like he learns to become human, right? He tells them how to take away that restriction that allows for him to learn, right? And then he learns how to high five, learns how to talk crap to people, right? He's like, tell him to, he teaches him stuff, teaches him to become more human. And then that human side of him realizes that he's still a threat to the future, because the thing that they're trying to stop is the thing that he needed to live. So that's just yeah. All right, so any other final thoughts before we go ahead and talk about our next movie for next week?
James Cameron, hurry up and release fucking Avatar 2. Jesus.
I think him, James Cameron on this, and then Aliens, those are like two of my favorite movies of all time.
I was gonna ask, okay, this will be the last thing about Terminator. If you guys were to redo this today, like a proper reboot, who plays Arnold? Who plays the Terminator?
Mm-hmm.
Who plays the kid? And who plays Sarah Connor?
All right.
And who's the T-1000? Those four.
Okay. John Cena plays the Terminator.
Okay.
Or The Rock, either one.
Okay.
The T-1000 is, let's see, who's it's Michael Cera.
I was gonna say James Hayter, but
or Jesse Eisenberg.
Or the guy who plays Mr. Anderson, Agent
Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name. What's his name? He's got a goofy European name, doesn't he?
Yeah, whatever. That guy. Okay, so either Michael Cera or Jesse Eisenberg. Okay. Who plays Sarah Connor?
Scarlett Johansson.
Oh. And then who plays the kid?
I don't even know what kid actors there are out there.
All right,
so
fine. We'll just go with those three since those are the big three.
Find
What about
someone
you, Ben?
unknown.
All right. Ben, who plays Terminator?
Terminator would have the Arnold, right?
T800.
Arnold.
Okay,
Yep.
T800 would be Arnold still.
Oh.
Come on.
T1000.
Keanu. I think Keanu could pull it off.
Oh.
He has that stoic look, you know, that face of determination. The look that you can't do jack shit to me, and I'm gonna accomplish what I need to accomplish.
Ooh. Oh, that's actually a pretty good choice. So, and
But
then what about for?
It turns out the T1000 was John Wick all along.
It's a machine of pure conviction.
Sheer fucking will.
Fucking will.
What about Sarah Connor?
Ooh, Charlize Theron.
Damn, that'd be a good one.
Yeah,
good choices. Okay,
I just picked Scarlett Johansson because she's hot.
I mean, Charlize Theron's also hot, so it's just like
Yeah, but yeah.
I would pick Charlize over.
Have either of you seen Old Guard?
Not yet. No. I want to.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this this part. So that wraps up. That's what I call 5incos action movies. The next episode is episode 50.
Oh, wait, really? Oh, shit.
Yes, we are on episode 50 next. So we will be doing a live stream for episode 50. And I believe it would be very fitting for us to watch Rush Hour 1 and Rush Hour 2. Oh. And then we would
do battle in the arena of which one is better.
And we will be streaming this on Twitch, and we will let the Twitch decide.
The Twitch? All right, Grandpa.
we will let our chat on the Twitch stream speak, add their vote as well, right? So it's that way. It's not just 2-on-1. They will also get a choice.
It'll be 15-on-1.
It'll be a 3-to-1. 3-to-1. So we'll do a poll on the Twitch stream to let you guys, and then add some of your favorite moments as well. Look for that announcement. So that'll do it for us here on the Dos Nav 5incos podcast. As always, I have been your host, David.
I'm Stuart.
And I'm Ben.
Don't forget to check us out on all of your favorite social media platforms. We are also on SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, and Google Podcasts, as well as Apple Podcasts. Come hang out with us on our Twitch stream. Tuesdays will be Ben. Wednesdays will be Stu. We're all together on Thursday. So until next time, guys, stay safe out there. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Don't forget to tip your Reiki masters. And we'll check you guys on the next one. Thanks so much. Okay, bye.